A very good evening to you and welcome to Correro, a platform where we unpack national and international conversations. My name is Godwin Sunday. Tensions between Israel and Iran have once again drawn global attention, with the conflict raising serious concern about stability in the Middle East and its ripple effect on the world in general. At the center of the economic conversation is energy. Now, the Middle East remains a critical hub for global oil supply. Now, let's put this in perspective. And any disruption in the region, especially around the Strait of Hormuz, can quickly send shockwaves through a global energy market. Now, in recent weeks, fears of supply disruptions have already pushed oil prices upward, with analysts warning that prolonged conflict could drive crude prices even higher. Now, for Nigeria, the implications are complex. Now, on one hand, higher global oil prices could mean increased export earnings, improved foreign exchange inflows, and a potentially stronger government revenue. But on the other hand, rising energy costs globally can fuel inflation increase, transportation and production costs, and place additional pressure on households and businesses. So what does this unfolding geopolitical tension really mean for Nigerians' economic outlook? Is it an opportunity for increased revenue, or another global shock that could worsen inflation and economic vulnerability? Tonight on Correro, we examine the Israel-Iran conflict and its implication for Nigerian's economy outlook. Well, joining me on this table tonight is Dr. Akintunde Emmanuel Ogunsola, economic and financial analyst, and he will be helping us put all of these issues in perspective. Well, stay with us as we will begin the conversation immediately after this break. Please go nowhere. You're welcome back. Well, joining me right now is Dr. Akintunde Emmanuel Ogunsola. Well, Dr. Akintunde, you're welcome to Correro.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
An interesting time to talk about the whole Israel-Iran conflict, don't you think so?
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting time. It's a big issue around the world.
All right. So let's even dive into the conversation. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran is already shaking global markets. Now, from a financial and economic perspective and standpoint, how important is this conflict for Nigerians' economic outlook?
Yeah, it's just like two sides of the coin. On one hand, it's good for our economy. On the other hand, it's not good for our economy. Now, the conflict in this oil-rich region, the Middle East, is affecting Nigeria just by way because we are oil-producing country. And as a result of the scarcity in the production of crude oil, it's not just affecting Nigeria, it's affecting the whole world. But Nigeria is not in isolation of the world. So definitely, the cost of energy will also go up. Because once energy is now scarce worldwide, of course, principal economics make us understand that when there is shortage in supply, prices will always go up. So it's just a simple principle of demand and supply that is affecting Nigeria now. So Nigeria is having its own fair share of the inflation that this war is actually causing the whole world.
Well, for a lot of people, they will say that they've been fears across board, because right now, price of crude oil have surged to above $100 per barrel, and this fear is everywhere. But then, when we look at this, what is the immediate impact of all of this surge in price of crude on the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, the impact is, just like I said, is in two ways. The first impact is that Nigeria will make more money from sale of crude oil above what was budgeted. Our budget for 2026 is proposed that oil price will remain steady at $65 per barrel. And now we are selling at close to $110, $120 per barrel. So almost double of what we budgeted. So if this continues, Nigeria will have a chunk of dollars.
So this is a blessing for Nigeria
Coming into our coffers.
So this is a blessing to the Nigerian government?
Yes, it is a blessing in disguise to the Nigerian government.
All right.
More revenue is coming in from oil at this time, and it's coming at a time when the president has signed an executive order that all proceeds from oil and gas should go straight to the consolidated revenue fund.
But in a situation where right now the price of PMS in the market is going for 1,350 naira in few filling stations in Abuja and other parts of the country, while some other filling stations are selling at the rate of 1,400. Not forgetting that black market right now is around 1,900 naira on right now on the field. But can we say that this is actually a blessing? This whole Iran-Israel conflict, is it really a blessing for us in Nigeria?
It's supposed to be a blessing for us.
So right now it's a cost.
It's supposed to be a blessing in the sense that Nigeria is an oil-producing country. We are not importing petrol, unlike before that we were importing, petrol and diesel and importing energy. Is now a new, era in Nigeria where we are now producing our energy needs locally, and in fact, the local capacity we have is small, and Dangote refineries is even exporting this energy, outside the world. Outside of Nigeria. So that's supposed to be a blessing. But it's just government. Government need to actually do something about it to actually, ameliorate this suffering for Nigerians. My simple proposal is just, now government is making more money from the sale of crude oil. Can government just from these gains that they are making from the crude oil, subsidize the price of petrol temporarily for this wartime in order to stabilize our economy so that this war that doesn't concern us will not really affect us so much. So government's supposed to say, okay, from our gains from crude oil, from the sale of crude oil, we are now refining locally. We can know how many liters of petrol that Dangote refineries is turning out to Nigerians. Government can just say, okay, please let us peg the price of petrol at 800 naira per liter, pending the time that this war will actually subside. And then Nigerians will not feel it, and the gains, the excess gains we're making from crude oil will have been used to cushion the effect of this rise in prices. And our economy will have been stable just like that of America. America is fighting the war, but the price of petrol in America has only increased by 60 cents. They are not affecting it. It's not affecting them because they have reserves that can last them for more than 6 months, even if the war continues. And the price of energy in the US will not really go up because they have reserves. Government is actually, cushioning the effect of this war, for their citizens. So government can say, okay, for example, if the price of crude oil is $120 per barrel, at least the $20 or $30 on top of that can be used to finance subsidy directly from the CRF based on agreement. And subsidy is not fraud the way we have looked at it in the past. Nigerians actually took advantage of unaccountability of these marketers and some persons in government to defraud the government and make the subsidy figures, so bogus. Subsidy can be monitored. Subsidy can be enforced. Government can release some funds. It's not too much to actually do. Instead of making citizens to suffer, or probably government comes up with palliative that will not cushion or ameliorate the suffering of the people.
All right. So Dr. Emmanuel, on the flip side, this whole Israel, US, Iran crisis and conflict is a cost to Nigerians right now. Is that what you say?
It's not supposed to be a cost.
But right now, is it a cost to Nigeria? Is this a direct punishment to the average Nigerian that is already feeling the brunt of the economic pressure so far?
The way it is going now, as the price of fuel is going high, we are suffering it because government have not taken any decision as to what direction they want to take to, ameliorate the suffering of the people. But government can wake up tomorrow morning and everything changes.
I'm asking because for the first time we've seen Dangote coming out to say that he's buying from the Nigerian government, crude from the Nigerian government at almost the international price.
Yeah.
And he's a local refiner in the country. And this has created a lot of debate. If Dangote, an indigenous businessman in Nigeria, should be buying at that rate. Now, we're looking at Dangote, which is the closest for us in terms of refining, and all of this put together. We've come to realize at this point that Dangote needs to sell, since he's a businessman, needs to sell at the international best prices. Right now, the international market is suffering because of the Iran and Israel war. Right now, can we say that this war is a blessing to Nigerian economy or actually a curse?
Just like I said, I'm going to repeat again.
Yeah, please. Because the average Nigerian watching you right now wants to find out, because you're coming down from, if you're using public transport, coming down from Secretariat down to this point, perhaps you're paying a minimum of 300 naira prior to this time. But right now, you're paying approximately 500 naira to just get to a distance that is not even up to 2 kilometers. So, from an economic perspective, can we be right to say that this is a direct punishment by the Nigerian government and the international community on Nigerians, and it's a deliberate cost on Nigerian people?
It is not a punishment. Nigeria is not at war. Remember.
But we are feeling
American
is sneezing, but we are feeling the impact of the sneeze.
Yes, because it's a global market. It's a global crisis we are facing. Nigeria is not in isolation of this global crisis. Ghana is feeling the heat. Cameroon is feeling the heat. South Africa is feeling the heat.
Are we supposed to feel the heat? People in Delta State are supposed to feel this heat when they have the crude?
That's what I'm saying.
All right, please.
That government can wake up tomorrow. I'm sure government is trying to study what is happening, and they are trying to take decision as to how can we ameliorate this suffering. And I just profile one solution now. Probably somebody in the villa is listening. That okay, from our gains from the sale of crude oil that we have made in the last 1 week, that is above $65 per barrel, from the gains we've made so far, government can sign a contract with Dangote Refinery and say, please let us peg price of petrol at 800 naira per liter, and then whatever the international market is saying, we'll be studying it, and government will be paying a kind of a temporary subsidy. It's not that it's going to last. Dangote knows how many liters it supplies every day to Nigeria, and then it can be traced. Dangote truck can even supply this PMS to retail outlets nationwide. So there will be no corruption or fraud in between this subsidy plan. It's not as if we have plenty marketers that are importing this fuel again. Nigeria will just be dealing with Dangote refineries directly, and they pay the money to Dangote refineries directly, and Dangote will give account of whatever is subsidized directly. And by that, we are not going to be suffering. We will not even feel the heat of any war that is going on. But government is just maybe taking their time to take decisions. I'm very sure in the next few days, we'll hear some announcements, and then government will know what to do. The war just started about barely 8 days ago, and we are seeing these changes just about 8 days. In fact, this price you are quoting now just started yesterday. It's not as if people have started suffering since. So let us give government some little time for them to come up with a decision that will help to ameliorate, the effect of this war on Nigeria.
Well, Dr. Emmanuel, I know you're not holding brief for the government, of course, so we shouldn't take you for your word that in the next couple of days we'll get the government to address us.
Yes.
But then let's talk about investment. So far, this war, even looking at Nigerian economy, should we be afraid that investors will be scared from even coming to Nigeria to invest at this point in time?
No, investors will not be scared. Just like I said, this crisis is not a Nigerian crisis. It's a worldwide crisis. Any investor, in fact, if you say investor is scared of coming to Nigeria, they are more scared of going to Dubai, that is investors' destination, than coming to Nigeria. Because even in Dubai now, insurance companies are shutting down that they cannot insure any business, under war situation. So Nigeria is still safe for investors to come and invest, because Nigeria is not at war. The whole world is feeling the heat of this war. Nigeria is not exceptional. So don't let us take Nigeria as if it's only Nigeria that is suffering from this war. No. Other countries like Nigeria are even worse hit than Nigeria because probably they don't even have oil. They don't even have, if you go to some countries, their price of petrol is far, far higher than Nigeria's price. At least I traveled a couple of times. I've tried to convert their own rates to Nigeria rate. They pay higher than Nigeria. So investors are not afraid. Nigeria is not under any security threat because of US and Iran war. Nigeria is at peace. It's just that there is scarcity of energy around the whole world, which is not just Nigeria. And as USA is catching cold, they are sneezing and Nigeria is catching cold, the same thing is happening to China. The same thing is happening to Brazil. The same thing is happening to South Africa and Egypt. So Nigeria is still very, very open for investors.
Dr. Emmanuel, I'm asking that because largely we are dependent on oil. But beyond the oil, could this conflict also disrupt global trade routes, shipping costs, and supply chains that affect Nigerians' economy?
Yes, it will.
So if it will, and these are what investors are looking at, can we say that these fears that a lot of persons have is not correct?
The way
that investors will be shy and we want to even, at this point, turn a blind eye on Nigeria.
No, it's not like that.
All right, please help us understand it.
You see, this investment, just like I've said, except the investor does not want to invest. As an investor, you must calculate very well and invest in where you can, get back your money. In Nigeria now, in fact, as prices are going up, this is the time that some people are investing. Because it is what you invest that will determine the price that you sell to the people, either rendering of services or production of goods. So it is the price that you, just like the petrol now. Dangote will not say, because of this war, let me close my refinery because prices are going up. Crude oil, I can't get crude oil again. He won't say that. He will get the crude oil at all costs from anywhere, but he will tell you that this is the price I will sell my petrol. If you like, you want to buy, buy. If you don't want to buy, don't buy. So investors are still investing. As far as the country you are investing particularly is not under threat, is not under any war, investors can still invest. The only thing is that they calculate their cost of investment and they also target their returns on their investment.
When various international stock markets are crashing, you're saying investors can invest. As what? As the bull, as the bear, or as the stag?
Now, for the capital market, capital market is a different ball.
Yes.
Because capital markets...
It's all about investment.
Yes.
Yes. So let's even know, if you're telling an investor to come into the country right now, is it coming in as a bull, as a bear, or as a stag? As a speculator in the market?
Yeah. Any investor that wants to invest now is coming in as a bull. You are investing and then prices will continue to go up. So it doesn't mean that the cost that you invest now, that you're going to make a loss because trading activities, the war going on in Iran is not affecting our own Nigerian stock market. Our stock market is still functioning, is still booming. We are still in the green. And then the capital, the market capitalization is still over $1 trillion. It has not really dropped. And we don't foresee any reason why it will drop because we have so many trading activities still going on because we are not directly involved in this war. It is just the energy crisis that is affecting all other activities and making prices to go up. And as prices go up, it is consumption that is affected. And that is where, investors will now study, how do I invest? I don't need to invest so much. I can just invest, little by little and study what is happening, over there and study the market. So it's not as if you are not going to invest at all. Investors will just try to reduce their investment, not that they will just run away and say we are not investing. So it doesn't really affect the investment, but it affects consumption. Instead of somebody to consume 5, 6 before, when everything was normal, everybody tried to reduce their consumption now because of the cost.
All right, so you're saying that if this crisis persists, that it will further weaken household purchasing power.
Consumption, yes.
And also deepen the current cost of living challenges.
Yes.
If I understand you correctly, is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
yes.
So Nigerians will be thrown more below the poverty line if this war continues.
If it continues and government did not take any action, if government takes action to block, this subsidy idea I'm actually putting out, I'm telling you that Nigerians will feel okay. The price of fuel will remain at the same price. Government will just be using the gains from the crude that they are selling to cushion, the effect of those prices, and we will not even feel anything.
You're saying you're selling to when you've of course you've agreed with me that the shipping lines are going to be, the shipping cost is going to be affected. Of course, you've also agreed with me that the global trade routes will be affected.
That's what is driving the price
so
of
when we
crude.
look at all of these supply chains and what have you put together, you're telling me right now that we will be supplying to who? Which country will be trading with us if the shipping cost will be inflated, if the global trade routes will be affected, and also the supply chains also will be affected? So who will Nigerian will be trading with?
We have so many countries. We are still trading with China. There are other routes that will
be passing through which routes to get to China?
They will follow another route.
They will go through the airways to get to China.
They may not go through the airways, but they will pass through another route. Donald Trump actually mentioned that they are going to provide naval security for oil ships to actually pass through some region. Iran is not attacking oil ships. Iran is just attacking neighboring countries within their region that America has base. So, and China also has a kind of a collaboration with Iran. They can speak to Iran and say, see, our oil ship is passing through this place, so time. Like Qatar Airways, they resumed flights, but it's skeletal flights. It's not as if the whole flight is shut down. Qatar Airways still resumed flight, but they said it's limited flights compared to what they have. So it's not as if the route will be totally shut down. Oil will still pass, but it will not pass the way it has been passing before. You have to pay for security. You have to pay for a lot of things for that oil to pass. And that's why the cost will increase. Nigeria can still do business with Brazil. We are still doing business with South Africa, with Egypt. Nigeria still export their crude oil. So it doesn't, Nigeria can still export to Europe, upstairs. So we are still doing business. It's not affecting us. But we are making more money because we are selling at a higher shipping cost.
All right. So I know you're trying to sound positive from the economic outlook in order to make it look. But then, what long-term economic risk should Nigerians prepare for as it stands right now?
The economic risk that we should prepare for now is the risk of inflation. We have actually have some gains on inflationary figures in 2025. Coming to 2026, our inflation has dropped to about 15% or less than 15%. So with this effect now, in the long run, it will actually affect our purchasing power. We've seen the naira to the dollar. Naira is now weakening, gradually as a result of this war. But it's because government are still watching the war to see how it's going before they, know the action they are going to, how they are going to come in, to ameliorate all the economic woes. But if things persist like this, Nigerians will be ready to tighten up their belt. Consumption, should reduce a little. And then our GDP will also be affected. Our GDP will also drop a little for other sectors. The oil sector GDP will still be going well, but for other sectors, they will be affected, and that is why inflationary figures will go up. Well, more persons may likely slide to poverty, but government is also there to see how to ameliorate the sufferings of the people, either by bringing out some palliative measures again, the way we did, when subsidy was removed. Government has a lot of role to actually play. But if government decide to leave it like this, the way it's going, without taking any decision, Nigerians will have the brunt to actually bear, because prices will continue to go up. And when prices go up, many persons will actually fall down below the poverty line.
Well, Dr. Akintunde, you've been in Nigeria for longer. Of course, you were born here in Nigeria. And
yeah.
Of course, we've seen government approach to some of these things. The Nigerian government tend to be more reactionary than being proactive when it has to do with things of this magnitude. And you saying if the government does this, if the government does that, but looking at the practicality of all of this, can we trust the government? In real terms, should Nigerian be expecting the worst if push comes to shove, economically?
You know, I put it based on conditions.
You know, because I'm asking because we already, for many, we're still below the poverty line. So I'm asking, if push comes to shove, should we be expecting the worst economically as a country?
Yes, if the push comes to shove, the economy will fall down so badly. But to stop or to prevent this economy from falling, government have a role.
So if the government does not play that role,
then people will suffer. That's what I'm saying. If the government does not play that
how
role,
bad is the suffering?
that's what I'm saying, that consumption will drop totally.
So can we get a rating of a figure from 1 to 10? Yeah, let's get for a scale from 1 to 10, how bad it will be.
From 1 to 10?
Yeah, a scale of 1 to 10. If inflation will rise,
it depends.
Consumption will. So let's get what
the scale also depends on the intensity of the war that is going on. If Iran and US suddenly strike a deal, and Iran surrenders, then the
which
war
they are not ready to surrender. Of course, Iran have said that they will be the one to call the shots.
So it
when to surrender.
You know,
so they are not seeing it end anytime soon.
But you are looking at the wars. What about seeing the war, ending in, soonest?
Well, we predicted the same thing for Russia and Ukraine.
Yes.
And we've seen how many years it has turned into. But if this persists for another 2 years, economically, in a scale of 1 to 10, where will Nigerians be in terms of productivity, in terms of inflation, and in terms of poverty line?
Okay, if this war persists for 2 years and government did not take any action, they leave it the way it's going now, that's what you want me to say now?
Yes.
Definitely it will get bad from let's say we are on 1 now. It will get bad as getting to 8. If government did not intervene, it will get too bad. People can barely transport themselves. The minimum wage gains that we've made, it will just be eroded because prices of things will skyrocket beyond what we have gained. Inflation that was at 33%, that we now brought it down to 15%, it will go back to that 33% where we were before. So that's how bad it will get to. Price of food will actually go up, and it is already going up. But I want to believe that the government will not just sit and fold their arms and watch people suffer. Remember, we are even in a pre-election year. So government will not fold their arms because they are going to meet these people to ask them for their support and their votes. So government will not fold their arms. I'm very sure about that.
So in all of these wars, we saw when Ukraine war started and Russia, at the point, it almost affected the entire world in terms of grains. Right now we're seeing what is playing out between Israel, Iran, and US. Nigeria is blessed with a lot of natural resources. Does this wars expose the vulnerability of Nigeria in terms of its preparations and preparedness to tackle unforeseen circumstances?
Yeah, our preparation, just like you said Nigerian government are more reactionary than proactive. Yes, governments, over the years have been reactionary. Just like the United States as a very good example. They have reserves. They have reserves for food, they have reserves for oil, they have reserves for petroleum products, such that if there is emergency, if there is crisis, at least in the next 1 month, we will not feel it. It's because they have reserves. Government will just be turning out the reserves. Nigeria, was working towards food security. How do you get food security? By having some reserves of food, so that when the prices of food tend to want to go up, you just increase the supply into the markets from the reserves that you have. And that was the Joseph idea, in the Bible. Reserves. But Nigeria, we don't have reserve. We don't have reserve of petrol. We don't have much reserve for our food. We don't have reserve of energy. So government needs to look into this area. to increase. We are having some little reserve, but it's just small. It cannot even last us long. For example, if there's food crisis now, the food we have in our bank cannot last us more than maybe 2 months. And sometimes government will not even release this reserve. They will first of all allow people to be fending for themselves before they will now come to rescue. So government need to increase reserve. That's the solution to that. If we don't have reserve, the people will suffer. So governments all over the world, they take time to build their reserve so that when there is crisis, when there is emergency, they can, from the reserves, take care of the situation.
Dr. Akintunde Emmanuel, you know when we keep talking about the government, I believe largely you're talking about the government at the center.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now we've not traveled down the lane of the subnationals.
Yeah.
Not even talking about the local governments. Now, who are the first, the government at the grassroots, they have the first point of contact with the local government, then the subnational, which is the state. In such a scenario, if this situation degenerates, are we saying at this point that the local governments have enough policies, economic blueprints, and outlooks that they can use to sustain people within the local levels? The subnationals, are they ready for all of these possible situation or probably if it goes out of hand, are looking at it from an economic indices and a financialist? Can we say that the subnationals and the local governments are ready to cushion the situation?
They are not ready.
Okay, so before the national, I'm asking before the national gets to the government at the center gets to the subnationals. So what are we looking at economically?
The government at the center can actually do a lot. We have the FAC meeting that they have. That's where they come together to distribute, share government revenue to the subnationals and also to the subnationals. At that level, the federal government, which is the president, have some, powers to say, okay, local government, he will just push money to them, the way he has been advocating that they should have autonomy in terms of finances. So monies can travel from the center, from the general purse, which is the CRF, straight to the local government. It's just a matter of policy of government. But as we speak now, those things are not in place. And that is why I said they are not ready. We did not prepare that Iran and US, Israel and Iran is going to go into war. We didn't prepare for that. So it is now that government will start to look inwards on what they can do. When the administration came in and they said subsidy is gone, how did they ameliorate the people's suffering? They ameliorated it by palliative. They started sharing palliative to the people to reduce their level of poverty.
The palliative that people complain that they never received.
Some received.
But the local people at the local government level, you can't tell me your local government, 50% of your local government received the palliative.
Some received.
50%.
Some did not receive.
Not because you are a financial expert. So I like going with the figures when it has so that we can set the records right. 50% of people from your local government, did they benefit from the palliative of the subsidy?
50%?
Yes.
I'm sure more than 50%.
Okay. I'm curious. I'm not putting you on the spotlight, but then which local government?
You want me to mention the local government?
Let's just set the record straight. So when you say that more than 50% of from your local government,
more than 50%.
First, let's even start with which state and which local government. Perhaps we will bring you back again.
Give me one state?
Your state. And perhaps your local government.
Let me mention one state in Nigeria.
No, not one state. Your state.
Lagos State.
You're not from Lagos State, Dr. Akintunde Emmanuel. If you say your state got more than, your local government got more than 50%, at least permit us to check, fact check your local government.
I didn't say my state. I said
your local government.
I said
I told you categorically that local governments, most people complain that even the palliatives, local government did not receive up to 50%. And you said
some received and some did not.
Okay, let's go by your narrative. I'm asking you at this point, your local government, did they receive up to 50% of the palliative?
I don't know. I don't have the statistics for my local government. So I cannot come and tell you a statistics I'm not
All right,
sure.
so that works. that works. Let's take it to the subnational. Your state.
Yes.
Did they receive the palliative?
Yes, my state received.
And more than 50% of indigents from your state benefited from the palliative.
I don't have that statistics, but I know that palliative was actually distributed by the subnational to the states. But I don't know, I can't tell you 50% got or 50% did not get. I don't know how many people got, but I know that palliative was distributed.
That works for us, yeah. So let's not put you on the spot because it's quite interesting. But then let's travel back again to look at these old conflicts in Israel and Iran. A lot of Nigerians right now are pitching their tents in support of all, it's either Iran or Israel or US. Of course, you've seen what's playing out right now. What's the economic implication of Nigerians pitching their tents around these blocks?
Yeah, it's actually dangerous for any country in the world, not just Nigeria, to pitch tents, with anyone. It's just like two of your friends are fighting, and then you decide to say, no, is this one I support? Then the other one too is your friend. How do you do with that one? You want to spoil the relationship with that one? So it's just a matter of Nigeria should be, neutral and preach peace. That's the way you settle two friends that are fighting. But yes, some persons will want to say, I support US, I support Nigeria. It's actually dangerous. It's dangerous for war to be going on in the United States, in Iran, and people in Nigeria are protesting that they have killed somebody in Iran. It's dangerous for us because, the US can see Nigeria as a threat. That's with those people that are protesting that they killed somebody. The Iran too. If people are saying, yes, we support the United States, Iran too can be seeing us as a threat. So where are we going to be? So it is better for us to be neutral and preach peace. Let there be peace. Whatever is causing the rancor, they can, discuss it on a round table. There's a dialogue table at the United Nations for us to come together to, settle these issues, to dialogue, and then let there be peace. That's what we should be preaching. We must not kill all the people in Iran, before you will get peace. You can invite them to the table, to the dialogue table, and say, okay, let us have a ceasefire. What is the problem? We don't want you to have nuclear weapon. Please, can you stop it? And if these people are saying, no, we cannot. What is your business with our strategy? And there can be a point of agreement, discussion, dialogue, solve matters instead of killing people, innocent lives, So Nigeria's role should be mediation. Let us mediate between US, Israel, and Iran, and say, please, enough is enough. Please, everybody, drop your fire. Let us see how we can make peace.
And if push comes to shove, Nigerian soldiers should not carry weapons and defend one side?
No, Nigeria should not involve themselves in this war at all. We have not even defended our own people. People are still being kidnapped and killed in Nigeria. Then we want to now go to Iran. To go and do what?
Well, I don't know what they will do in Iran, but then I know that they can decide to show solidarity.
No, let us protect our own lives first and property. We have not finished securing ourselves. So where are we pitching tent to? People are still being killed, kidnapped in Nigeria. So our security agencies should mount our borders and ensure that terrorists don't penetrate, and leave US and Iran first. When we finish protecting our own territory, then we can now say we want to go and help them.
All right. So, Dr. Emmanuel, recall you mentioned that part of the challenge with the Iran and US conflict so far is that energy disruption.
Yeah.
But then we have modular refineries in the creeks. We have people that can still refine crude in Nigeria. What roles can this local refinery play, or domestic refineries play, in order to shield Nigeria from all of this global market? Or they don't have any relevance? Or should we just be turning a blind eye that we have locals that can actually refine and we don't want to talk about them? Can they play any role in shielding Nigeria from all of these unexpected circumstances?
Yes. our downstream sector has been fully deregulated. You know the meaning of that?
Yeah.
Government does not have any hand. It's a free market. Get your crude oil from anywhere. If you want to buy from Nigeria, we'll sell to you. If you want to buy from US, buy. Come and refine and sell at normal price. So that you go and compete with, let the modular, don't even let us mention Dangote. Let the modular refineries, let them compete with themselves. Get your crude oil from any source. If you can buy from Nigeria international price, buy, refine, and sell. It's a deregularized, a bit deregulated market. So Nigerian government does not have a role to play. They have given them license. They have even built these refineries. It's just for them to produce. They say they cannot get crude oil. And that's why it's not Nigeria now. The only thing, Nigeria has not even met its quota of production of oil. Our quota is over 2 million barrels per day. We've not met that quota. So the market is open to them. Moreover, Dangote is capable of, meeting our daily needs of fuel. In fact, they have even assured in a press conference that no matter what is happening in Iran, petrol will not be scarce. The price may be at any price, but it will be readily.
We are seeing what is happening.
It will be available.
We are seeing the price.
It's
right
different
now.
from before.
No, we are seeing the price right now.
If it was
1,315 naira, 1,400 naira, 1,700 naira, 1,900 naira in black market.
If Dangote was not there, it would have been worse, because there would have been scarcity. And when there's even scarcity alone, you can be buying 5,000 naira per liter. But because we have Dangote, that's why we are still enjoying small. Because by now, you know that the filling station will have been locked. We can only struggle to get fuel. But now, the filling stations are still selling. It's just the price that is increasing. So it's better than where we are coming from.
So at this point, we're very good with hoarding of products in the country. And at this point, what will you advise from an economic perspective? Should we start hiding our products, or we should start bringing them out to start do business?
Anybody that wants to hoard petrol is just wasting his time, because the refinery that we have in Nigeria has the capacity to supply petrol. So if you close your own that you are not selling, MRS will sell, NNPC will sell, and people will get fuel. So if you want to, hoarding cannot work. You know why all those things were working before? Because we're not refining locally. And then there will be petrol in the stock tanks of marketers, and they will not sell because they are the only one importing. And they will do meeting and say, please don't let us sell. But now all those things are gone. Dangote has assured that there will be supply. In fact, Dangote wants to be supplying to the retail outlets. So, sure, it's the Nopeng that is blocking him. He has tankers. He's ready to supply to retail outlets. So who wants to go and be hoarding? If you are anybody thinking of hoarding, is just wasting his time. Hoarding is already gone, because we have a giant in the room that is ready to meet all our demands on a daily basis.
Well, not just petroleum. Of course, we have other perishable goods across the country. Traveling down to the north, we still have rice that has been produced. So at this point, for the farmers to make gains, you're saying that they should not hoard.
Okay, hoarding of other
products,
food items.
Yeah, food items.
You can see what happened now. Most of them made losses. They tried to hoard the last time, and then the price of food started crashing. They were crying that they are making losses. Price of beans came down from 1,300, came down to 600 naira. Rice dropped from 100,000 per bag. It came down to 55,000 naira. So if you are hoarding, are you not ready? They lost. They made losses because food was just in excess in the market. So in normal elementary economics, when there is adequate supply, nobody goes to hoard. It's only when they are now predicting that there is rainy season coming, farming season, that food, as in harvest, has not come. We can quickly, it's only on prediction, or how will I put it now? Just trying to predict that there will be scarcity. That's when hoarding will now start having effect. But if there is no scarcity, that we have abundant supply, hoarding will not even make any difference.
All right, interesting. Before I let you go, we've been having a lot of economic summits across the country.
Yeah.
Year in, year out. Experts like yourself
yeah.
Meet to discuss about what we should expect from the economy. I'm curious, with all of these Iran-Ukraine wars that are going on right now, can we say that economists and financial experts have failed us by not being able to see the future of the market and be able to prepare us ahead?
It's not true.
I'm curious at this point.
It's not true.
Have economists and financial experts like yourself, professors of business, have they failed us?
Yeah, no, they have not.
But they didn't see this coming. And they didn't plan for this.
Nobody,
even in the whole national economic summits that we're having. So we should call them failures at this point because they didn't see this coming.
No, nobody can foresee this.
All right.
You know, Iran did not attack the United States. I think this war started when Israel started fighting with Palestine and killing the people of Palestine because of the Hezbollah that was actually kidnapping Israelites. And then because of that, I think the Palestinians, or is it Hezbollah now also, they had a link with Iran. And then Iran now fired ballistic missiles to Israel. And Israel said, we will reply this in due time. I think you remember last year. Israel said, we will reply. So already, there was already a calculation that war will come between Iran and Israel. America was just by the side. America was just watching the back of Israel. That, okay, Israel is our ally, and we'll definitely watch their back anytime, any day. So nobody could predict that this war will, escalate to what we are seeing now. Nobody can predict that. Nobody was able to predict that. So it's not as if it's a failure, but it's just, we never knew that Trump will actually, come into this war this way. Nobody expected it. So, and that's why it's hitting us so hard. Not being able to forecast evil days ahead does not mean that you have failed. It is for you to advise, to prepare. You don't need to forecast that evil will come. America did not plan that they will go to any war. But they have prepared that in case we want to go to war, we are ready to save our people.
Well, Dr. Emmanuel, let's say you're using a way to help exonerate your team and of course the business community in Nigeria and try to liberate them from all of this blame game. It's fair, we accept at this point
that
we exonerate them based on what you've said, but I wish we have time to talk more about this issue, but I think that it's time for us to go. I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Akintunde Emmanuel, for finding out time to be with us here on Corero.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
But viewers, how far we can go tonight on Corero. Do not forget that you can leave your comments and you can also leave your thoughts on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your night rest. Bye for now.